Hello, friends. I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world and how's things where you are? Hope it's fantastic. Everything here is great. Hope you had a great weekend. I had a very interesting weekend of doing a lot of non-standard programming. Um, I know I said a lot of programming jargon on Friday, and that's boring for a lot of people. I'm going to try to keep this conversation away from the programming specific stuff and talk about more about my approach to things because I say I was doing non-standard things. I was doing things, or I am doing things, not was, I am actively pursuing programming things that are contrary to popular opinion. And it's not because I'm a contrarian. I am a contrarian. I will admit that. I tend to shy away from popular opinion for most mass media things, for sure. Like uh, movies and television shows and music. I tend to find the most popular stuff to be dull and annoying, and I don't really enjoy watching it. And I have a very difficult time understanding why people enjoy it. I tend to be much more eclectic in taste when it comes to things like that. And so I guess I am a contrarian in that sense, but I don't think I actively just say I'm not going to watch that movie because it's too popular. Like that's just being an asshole, right? I will not watch it because there's other things that are interesting me, or I will watch it and be like, yeah, I don't really get it. I didn't like it, even though it's the most popular thing around right now. And that spills over into my projects. I have often told you guys that I like reinventing the wheel. I really enjoy reinventing the wheel. I feel like trying to do something my way and failing is much, much more valuable to me than doing something the way that everybody says I should do it. And in programming, that's called a framework. For non-programmers, a framework is essentially a pre-packaged set of code that kind of is the jump start for your book, for your app. Imagine, I don't know why I said book there. I mean, I think I was going to use book as an example. Maybe I am. Say if you look at a book, right, and you're going to write a book, there's inside this book there are chapters and there are chapter headings, and there are page numbers. There's an index. There might be a glossary. The framework sets all that up for you, and all you have to do is write the book, and then the book automatically gets formed from that. That's a framework in programming, and a lot of them are very, very impressive. They do a lot of really crazy, cool behind the scenes stuff that makes it so easy to jumpstart a new program or a new project that it becomes the default. You have to do it this way, and people start saying this is the way it has to be. Like this is the best possible way. And I disagree. I don't think frameworks should be or necessarily are mandatorily the way to do things. I think that they are an excellent tool, especially for prototyping, but there becomes an issue of maintainability the longer something lives when you're depending on somebody else to have done the work for you. And that's the problem that I have with them. There's a lot of reasons people will give, like, well, abstraction. I said abstraction a lot on Friday. Abstraction would be, say I want to write something on page 116 of this book. In software terms, I would, write something like add page 116, whatever it is I want to add, and maybe where I want to add it after sentence 3, right? That's a very technical way to do it. But the framework might say, all I have to do is hit insert and then type some stuff out, and it automatically figures out where I'm at and it puts it in there for me. Okay, so that's called abstraction. That's basically meaning that I remove the how, I need to put it here, and these are the terms I need to use to do that, and just make it, I'm going to take care of that for you in the background. And a lot of people like to point to abstraction as a positive thing, which it can be. For instance, I'm currently writing my book in whatever size this is. Say I want to write my book in a smaller format or a larger format. Well, now all of those page numbers change. The glossary indexes change. The index changes. The headings change. All of that stuff changes. If I've written it in a framework that accounts for that stuff, it's automatic. I don't have to do anything. Whereas if I have written previously to insert this on page 161, I now have to go figure out where that text moved to and update that page number, maybe even update that location on that page in order for my thing to work. That's like a kind of a dumbed down version of what I'm talking about. And all that stuff is neat and fancy, but it also means the problem that I have is people will say that makes the code easier to follow. And I completely disagree. I think that abstraction makes it way harder to follow. It makes it way more difficult for me to understand what's going on. And a lot of times I need to understand what's going on. And I think that's what makes me the contrarian when it comes to stuff like this. I don't like typing a thing just because that's what my framework tells me I'm supposed to do, and I just have to accept whatever it returns. I don't like it. I like knowing why it's doing what it's doing and how it's doing what it's doing. And it's not necessarily that I can do better. In some cases I can, especially when it comes to database type stuff. Writing a simple database query, so, going to Excel and saying, show me all the columns that have this. If I write that myself, it will run much faster than running it through an object-oriented framework. Is it significantly faster to the point that the user would notice? No, it's not. I mean, unless we're talking about millions of users hitting a website at one time, it's not. But for me, I enjoy doing that part of it, and it means I have complete control. And I'm not depending on somebody else to maintain code for me. I'm not depending on somebody else to update their code. I'm not depending on a whole host of other people putting my site together for me, and all I'm doing is the top level kind of hand-wavy stuff. So I spent the weekend doing very unusual programming, and it was really fun. I'm setting up for the new time tracking software. I'm getting everything in order as far as how it runs and the database and all that sort of stuff, and I'm doing it my way, which is, I don't think most people would like to look at it. But hopefully it makes sense to me, is the thing. This is going to be a company of me, and I don't see that changing unless some miracle happens and I start finding clients outside of this state. I don't think I'm going to suddenly find clients that want to buy this software. And so without expanding it to a team, there's no reason for me to do it for anybody else but me. And I've structured things in the way that I think and the way that programs work. And I think it makes perfect sense. And I've done all the things you're not supposed to do when you're setting something like this up. But you know what? It works great. It does things that I don't know how you would accomplish with a standard framework. That's pretty cool. So, yeah. I had fun. And then Em and I played a whole lot of Tiny Tina's, and Tiny Tina's was great. I really enjoyed that game. So it's been a good time. I got kid this week, maybe kids later in the week. Maybe we should talk about my oldest. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends, wonderful people. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is magniloquent. It is an adjective meaning pompous, bombastic, and boastful. The nouveau rich try to atone for their lack of polish with magniloquent speech, but the result is ludicrous. Magniloquent. M-A-G-N-I-L-O-Q-U-E-N-T. See, there's another magnate, magnanimous that makes magniloquent that makes magnanimous not sound nice, but apparently it is.